What happens when the doctor mistakenly takes out the patient's uterus, believing that it's cancerous, and in fact, turns out it never was? You want to learn what happened and how it resulted in this doctor costing him almost $500,000? Come join me for a moment as I share with you this great information. Hi, I'm Gerry Oginski. I'm a New York medical malpractice and personal injury attorney practicing law in the state of New York. The patient went to the doctor for a routine GYN visit. Routine GYN tests told the doctor, hey, there's something suspicious going on here. I think you might have cancer. The doctor then goes ahead and does a biopsy. The biopsy comes back and he tells the patient, listen, you have cancer in your uterus. You need to have surgery immediately. Now, this was a young woman. She was 27 years old. She had 2 young children. She was married at the time. Her intention was to have a big family. She came from a big family. But now she's faced with this decision. The doctor tells her that she has cancer in her uterus. And you know what else he tells her? He says, listen, if you choose to put this off, the cancer is going to grow, it's going to spread, it's going to go throughout your body, and now these 2 young children that you have will grow up without a mother. You'll die very quickly if you don't have surgery. So what do you think she does? She trusted the doctor. She believed the doctor. She goes ahead and has the surgery a week and a half later. And now, after the surgery, she goes back for follow-up. And now she asks the doctor, well, what did my uterus show? Was it cancerous? And he's looking at the papers, he's looking at it, and he says, well, it was precancerous. She said, what do you mean? You told me I had cancer in my uterus. He said, well, the pathology reports show that you had precancerous cells. And she said, what does that mean? And he wouldn't fully explain to her the fact that she never really had cancer at all. There was no invasive cancer. There was no advanced cancer. There was no cancer in the uterus. Instead, let me share with you how we learned exactly what happened. My client was furious after leaving the doctor's office. She couldn't understand why her uterus was removed, all because the doctor told her she had cancer. She came to me. She was worried. She was concerned. Importantly, she was very upset that now she couldn't have children anymore. So what did we do? I went ahead and I got all of her medical records. I then sent those medical records out to a GYN expert to tell me whether or not the doctor violated the basic standards of medical care. And you know what the results were? The conclusions were that he did. It turns out that those initial tests, the initial GYN tests and the initial biopsy tests, did not show at all the fact that this patient had any cancer whatsoever. Instead, it showed she had precancerous cells. And the appropriate treatment at that point was to simply follow and observe, to have the patient come back in 6 months and repeat the test, to see if there are any abnormalities or any changes at that point. That was the standard of care. It was not to go ahead and have the patient undergo a hysterectomy. That was a clear violation from the basic standards of medical care. Now, we went ahead and started a lawsuit. And you should know that the defense refused to acknowledge they did anything wrong for 2.5 years. They made us go to trial. They didn't believe that we had the support the experts needed to go ahead and prove our case, to show that we were more likely right than wrong. And you know what? We put on our witnesses, we put on our experts, and it was only after I rested our case did the defense attorney come over to me at a break and said, listen, we'd like to negotiate. And as a result of those discussions, we were able to resolve this case for almost $500,000, all because this doctor, this gynecologist, violated the basic standards of medical care. So why do I share this quick story with you? I share it with you just to give you an insight and an understanding into one case where I was able to help a young woman obtain compensation for the injury she suffered because a doctor was careless. You know, I realize you're watching this video because you likely have questions or concerns about your own particular matter. Well, if your matter happened here in the state of New York and you're thinking about bringing a lawsuit, but you have questions that need to be answered first, what I invite you to do is pick up the phone and call me. I can answer your legal questions. You know, this is something I do every single day, and I'd love to chat with you. You can reach me at 516-487-8207 or by email at Gerry, Gerry, at oginski-law.com. That's it for today's video. I'm Gerry Oginski. Have a wonderful day.